Okay, welcome back. I'm going to start working on the head of this rooster. First of all, let's get his beak in there. This is using a mixture of ultramarine blue plus cadmium orange plus white. I need a smaller brush. You can tell that already. This makes kind of a tannish color. Just be a little bit darker. A little too much paint on my brush, I think. Usually the tip of this guy's tip on his beak is pretty dark. So, a little bit of the ivory black there. Now I can take some of my background color and work back around that. Okay. I have to do a little bit more on this. It comes back into there. Okay, now let's do his comb. That's the top part of this red on the top of his head. This is a mixture of cadmium red medium and alizarin crimson. I usually use cadmium red deep, but I used up my last tube and I have not ordered new paint, so I can mix a darker red with the cadmium red medium and alizarin crimson. The alizarin crimson makes it a really slow dryer, but that's okay. We'll have time. This can dry. This will just take its time to dry. It's also the alizarin crimson makes it a little more transparent than normally. But alizarin crimson is a very transparent red. I'm going to do the whole comb with the dark, and then I'll come back in and add some brighter red with the cadmium red light. Now, the back of the comb, I want to just kind of feather into the background. I want that back edge to be soft because he's turning, and that gives a little feel of that softness, just gives the feeling of action. And then this. Now this brush is called a Filbert. It actually has a more rounded, oval-shaped tip, I guess is really the best way to put it. And I use these occasionally. Most of the brushes I prefer to use are the brights, that square tip, but occasionally I'll use some of these others. Now I'm using cadmium red light. Here that's brighter and lighter, because the sun's again coming in from the left, so the front of his comb is going to be brighter. The comb kind of comes up almost over almost like an eyebrow over his head. And then his wattle, which is the red down underneath his chin, or underneath his beak, I guess I should say. These hang on both sides of their beak. And so you're going to see some on the back side and then this one on the front. Now the one on the back, I'm going to make the edge a little softer, if I can do this. Get my brush cleaned out. And I brace my hand on my maul stick. Hope you can see that. And then I just take that clean brush, kind of work on that edge. And that softens that edge. Now I'm going to make a mixture of my cadmium red light. I'm going to add just a little bit of white to that. I want a little bit of a lighter value, because that wattle in the front, I want the sun to catch that that edge. It comes off the beak here, so we catch this front edge of that one. And I'm going to clean my brush out real well, and I'm going to just pull some of this blue, make this a little bit softer. Make this just a little softer. That brush is not doing it. Okay, let me get my Filbert here again. This ought to soften that a little bit better. There we go. Now his head this is cadmium orange plus my mud. This makes just a really kind of a nice burnt sienna paint color. These feathers on his head and neck are more of a rich burnt sienna color. Some shadow back here. As they come around, then they become lighter. This is that same mixture, but it has more of the cadmium orange in it. I'm not worried about doing his whole neck right at this point. Get back to his face here around his eye. Now I'm going to go ahead and do his eye with my mud mixture. I'm just going to paint the whole eye in dark. And I'm going to take some of my red here from his comb. Bit of some little red in here. And this eye is actually more down a little bit. Have it up too high. And then there's a little dark red. This red from his wattles actually comes up around his eye there. All right. Make sure his eye is good and dark here. I'm going to show you how I paint this eye. This is Jack's technique of painting eyes. It's very simple but very effective. The eye is a globe. It's round. It's clear and wet. So you see the iris and the eye pupil through it. So what we're going to do is the light hits the iris over here. I'm going to brace on this unpainted part of the painting. That'll make it easier. And then there's a catch light on the opposite side, right? Let's see, get a good point on that brush. Now I need to make my light on the iris needs to be just a little bit smaller, so I can come back with this and outline. Come around the outside of the eye to make that smaller. So there's our rooster, his face, his eye. And then this part of his wattle is a little different color. It varies from rooster to rooster, but this has a little different. In fact, some of them are almost a bright blue. And I may add that in here. This one is not, but I've seen some that are. Let's see how that looks. Just bring some blue over that. Gives him a little different. This is somehow part of it there. that. Let me get that a little bit lighter. There we go. I'm going to bring some of this darker. There's a little shadow because this lifts up a little bit, so there's dark here. And his neck, I'll go ahead and, these are called hackles. And when a rooster gets upset, they'll raise up. And you hear about like somebody, his hackles are raised, he's angry. And that's where it came from. This is called the hackles, and they come down and around. And then they will feather those feathers out into the background. This comes down. And now my lighter, because again our light is coming in from the left, so it's hitting his neck here. We want some nice highlights in there. And these feathers are thin. Oh, they're narrow, you know, they're, so we can kind of, I use my square brush, but I use it sideways so that you just, this thin edge is what's making those feathers. So that's how we paint the head of the rooster and start working on his neck. I appreciate you following along. So visit my blog. The link is in the description below. You'll see the whole the entire step-by-step process of this painting. And you just have a wonderful, wonderful day. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel and just be safe. Wear your mask, do your social distancing. That COVID virus is out there and we just have to be really careful right now. So you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you again.